Refuge, Solitary Men, 10 tracks, 49 minutes, the debut album from the reunion of German band Rage members, released June 2018 by Frontiers, produced by the band, recorded at Soundgate Studios. 3 promo tracks have been released, The Man in the Ivory Tower, From the Ashes and Mind Over Matter. The album has 2 Rage covers and a reworked unreleased Rage song as well on this, so yeah, go for it.
This one was definitely a bit of a grower. Didn't get me much on the first pass at all, to be honest with you, but then after a couple of times I really started to sink my teeth into it and thought it was pretty cool. Nothing that's going to blow you away stylistically, but it's some good fun rocking tunes, you know. I mean, it's all really good and really well done. Really good riffs. It's definitely all just riff driven stuff. If you're a meathead guitarist like myself, and you'll probably get enough out of it just from the guitar riffs alone. The vocals are definitely going to be an acquired taste for some.
Yeah, I do get that.
It's probably not for everyone. I quite enjoyed it, but again, not so much on the first time through. Like the second and third time, I'm like, yeah, okay, but it's a very unique sounding voice. Not that he's a bad singer by any stretch of the imagination. It's just unique.
It's the tone.
Yeah. The drums sound great. I thought the bass may have been a bit light on. I don't know if you got that or if that was the speakers I was listening to at the time.
I got a slightly muted feel to it.
Yeah, it was just not quite, didn't quite punch out the way that I think in this style of music it could have. It really probably would have brought it to life a bit more. All in all, pretty raw rock album, kind of in the Motorhead vein as the album goes on. It doesn't start that way, but then once you get sort of in the middle part of the album, I was really getting a bit of a Motorhead Lemmy-inspired kind of thing. Some slightly tackier choruses in it, I find. It got a little bit sort of a pop sensibility in some of the choruses. Lyrically, it was pretty cool without, again, setting the world on fire. Cool release, an interesting listen. If you do give it a crack, make sure you go through it a few times. I gave it 7 out of 10. Highlights were Bleeding From Inside, The Man in the Ivory Tower, We Owe a Life to Death, and Hell Freeze Over.
Old school heavy metal, heavy and sticking straight to basics. I thought this was a brand new band, heavily influenced by the past, but turns out they were an old band with a new name. For me, a lot of these songs sounded familiar, or almost like I heard them before, but they're original enough for me to not be able to directly compare them to anything. There's enough weight and talent within this band for them to stand up next to a lot of the more well-known bands. The guitar tone has some serious balls in this album, and the closing track, Waterfalls, was a nice change of pace to end the album with.
That was cool.
I was a bit sceptical when I saw the title, Solitary Men. You're not alone if you're in a group.
It's like the Lone Rangers.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. How can you pluralise the Lone Ranger? But with that little tackiness out of the way, 7.5 out of 10. From the Ashes, Man in the Ivory Tower, We Owe a Life to Death, Hell Freeze Over, and Waterfalls.
Okay. I thought there was a slightly muted sound of the whole record. To me, it felt like the whole record was kind of palm muted, like the old guitar trick palm muting. It felt like that had been applied to the overall mix. The vocals cut through, but the guitars get pushed back when they're present, which is a bit odd. So when the vocals aren't there, the guitars come through more, but there's this trade-off. When the vocals come in, the guitars go back, and it doesn't quite...
It's a strange vocal. It might have been hard to mix.
The frequency's probably very, very close to each other, so you get one to punch, and then the other one, otherwise you're probably clipping it with the way it sounds too. So it'd be interesting, be a challenging one, I reckon. Yeah. All in all, for my taste, a little bit muddy. It's too vocal-centric. Could have used more space and depth, but I do like the raw edge on the sound. That works well for them in this release. There is some pretty cool panning on this, though, which spices things up a little bit. And once you settle in on it, the mix does suit the band. So that they made a sound that works for them. It's maybe not going to grab you at the start, but once you sort of get your head around it, it sounds good. It's pretty straight-ahead heavy rock that crosses into metal for mine. Some very nice groove and feel employed, though, with still the nice sense of melody, which is what you were talking about, I think, as well. Nice track order, pretty engaging listen. It's all about the feel, and they've got that locked down really well. All the pieces work well together. You can tell that this is 3 guys that know each other really well. It feels organic and real when you're listening to it. It's almost like you're in the garage or the rehearsal room with them while they're playing these things out. That's how it feels. It's a nice touch. It gets a little bit loose here and there as a consequence of that, but it's the right kind of loose, gives it that edge that you want for that kind of thing. And once you get stuck into this, it's actually pretty good. It starts off a little bit so-so, like it didn't grab me at the start much at all. Once you're in the middle of it, by then I found that you're locked in on it pretty well. There's a fair bit of diversity, some cool hooks thrown in for good measure, and I love the different use of energy and tempo on this, and that grows, and there's a fair bit of... it can pump you up, this kind of music, when you get into it. The album flow was really interesting, well done. There's actually more diversity than you think when you get stuck into it with the way this is written and presented. It gets more fun the deeper you get into it, I found. And this would actually be pretty cool live. I thought. More chops than you'd think. Some of the writing and composition is damn creative. And if you like it heavy with a fair bit of fun and a little bit of a twist, then this is for you. It will please most purists out there with the riff-driven side of it and the well-worn vocals, but again, the vocals will be an acquired taste. And they, in a lot of ways, save the best till last with what amounts to an epic for them. The track Waterfalls goes for something like 7.5 minutes, when the rest of the songs are pretty short. And it's a damn good way to close an album. This one is really easy to go around and around on again. And the diversity, while I'm mentioning, is there. The best thing about it is that it all fits, and that actually surprised me big way. I gave this one an 8 out of 10. I picked Bleeding From Inside, We Owe Life to Death, Let Me Go, Living on the Edge of Time. Check it out for yourselves. Let us know what you think.